I'm not saying don't indulge and don't have fun, right? It's a once a year holiday. Have fun. Be smart, though, at the same time. There's a way to have fun and be smart and keep your numbers happy. And I would almost be inclined to say, like, during times you might say, hey, I'm going to this person's house. I don't exactly know what's in it. When you are forced to pay a little bit of extra attention versus going through the motions like you're eating something at home that you normally make, I would argue that blood sugars have the potential to be better. So for example, like when we traveled not too long ago, we got this massive barbecue meal and it was phenomenal. I'm talking like, brisket and turkey and pulled pork and mac and cheese and all that. I would argue my blood sugars were actually better than some of the times when I eat at home because I had to be dialed in. I had to pay attention. I had to say, hey, how much is this? How much do I need to dose so my blood sugar did not go crazy high? And my number in that situation, my graph was phenomenal. And I'm grateful for that. I'm absolutely grateful for that. Welcome to the Your Diabetes Insider podcast, where we take all of the mysteries of blood sugar control, focusing on nutrition, exercise, and any of the other 40 plus factors that may impact your blood sugar. If you don't know me, my name is Ben Zeal. I'm a registered dietitian, certified diabetes educator, strength and conditioning coach, and I've lived myself with type 1 diabetes for over 20 years. And I am here to share everything that I have learned in both my personal and professional experience so you can live that incredible diabetes life. So get ready and let's dive right into today's episode. What is going on? Happy week of Christmas. Happy Hanukkah if you are celebrating. Happy every holiday that you could potentially be celebrating at this time of year. And also happy almost end of 2025. It's been a wild year. A lot of people are saying, oh, this decade of 2025 has been crazy because it's felt like a just absolutely insane year, but we'll do some sort of recap on it next week. This episode, I want to focus on what is directly in front of us, which is, drum roll please, Christmas and Christmas Eve. And I say that because I know a lot of people here, you may not celebrate Christmas, but again, it's a major holiday. The country pretty much shuts down for this day. So I want to make sure you are prepared, and it's not going to be anything wild and crazy, but I want to make sure you are ready to go because there are some wrinkles and nuances that are different than Thanksgiving. So with this, first things first, again, you might remember just a month ago, right? It was Thanksgiving. This is amazing. We've got all these things we're going to do to make sure our bodies are prepared. But again, it depends on your family, it depends on the situation. But a lot of people, Christmas Eve is the big dinner. Christmas Day is more chill. For some people, it might be Christmas Day is the big dinner. Christmas Eve is more chill, a lot of family time, a lot of people asking a lot of questions that you may or may not want to actually answer, but that's besides the point. The big things to remember here are, number one, you are likely going to have access to a ton of food, which is great. You are also going to likely have more unique types of food, rich foods, in terms of high fat, high carb, and potentially high blood sugar inducing foods. So with all of this, I want to make sure your game plan is ready to go. So first things first, and this is a big nuance compared to Thanksgiving. Make sure you get the workout in, but understand there is a good chance that your gym may not be open if you are a member of a gym. And this is what I mean by that. So I went into the gym, this was 2 days ago, I guess, a few days ago, and I saw they had the holiday schedule. So I figured, okay, no big deal. They're open on Thanksgiving. It was limited hours, but they're open on Thanksgiving. Like it'll probably be open on Christmas for a few hours. And it said quite the contrary. It was just, we are not open. This is a 24/7 gym, like 24 hour a day. You can go there whenever you want kind of gym. So if the 24 hour a day gym is not open, I cannot fathom. And we're in a pretty workout friendly area as well. I can't imagine what the rest of the gyms look like, especially if they're not typically 24 hours and you don't have the ability to scan in yourself. And if you do, by all means, take advantage of that, do your thing, whether it's staffed or not, make sure you get that workout in. But if not, you're going to have to get a little creative because you still need that blood sugar boost. You still need that insulin sensitivity explosion prior to whatever meal you are planning on having that day. Because again, could you go into the meal without that extra insulin sensitivity? Sure, absolutely, totally possible. However, should you go into that meal? Well, if you want to set yourself up for the maximum amount of success, it would be in your best interest to ensure that you have some sort of activity in. And also keep in mind, Thanksgiving's November. It's already pretty cold. December, end of December, one of the shortest days of the year, might I add, from a sunlight perspective, because I think it's December 22nd is when things start getting longer days again. That's a lot working potentially against you. So you're going to have to be intentional. You might have to do something outside. It might be, hey, I'm going to go on a really long walk. Might be, hey, I'm going to go on a run because I go on runs anyway, and that's what I do. That is also okay. I personally don't like running. It might end up being a situation where you focus on where can I get a ton of steps in and what kind of workout can I do at home? And home workouts don't have to be difficult, right? I'm not talking about, oh, go out and buy yourself, a bunch of barbells and stuff. If you don't have a home gym set up, that is okay. But what you need to consider is, hey, do I have any weights available? Do I have any dumbbells at all? Any equipment at all? And if the answer is no, first, you probably have, relatively heavy objects somewhere in your house. For example, a gallon, like a milk gallon container, you fill that thing up, that can start to get pretty darn heavy. And also, if you don't fill it up all the way and the water sloshes, it kind of changes resistance throughout the range of motion. But I digress. We're getting into the weeds. The bigger thing here is find some sort of circuit type of workout that you can do. So again, this is if you don't want to walk, if you don't want to go on a run, if it's freezing outside, if it's, I don't know, you live in the Midwest and it's 4 degrees out, not exactly anticipating you wanting to spend a lot of time outside. And if you do, if you're like, hey, I love the outdoors, I love the snow, by all means, knock yourself out. But if you're like, I don't really want to deal with that, it might be, hey, I'm going to set a timer. I'm going to pick 5 exercises. I'm going to do each of them for a minute, as many reps as I can. And then I'm going to rest for a minute. And then I'm going to repeat the whole thing 4 or 5 times. And that takes 25, 30 minutes. You cool down, you stretch, you get back to your regular scheduled program with the rest of life on that day, right? Whether it's Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, doesn't matter. And I'm really harping on this because, again, it is so important, especially when there's the potential of, hey, I've got these holiday cookies. Hey, I've got this crazy meal. Hey, I've got this high fat stuff going on that's going to potentially make my blood sugar go wild later. You have to make sure you're setting yourself up for success. I cannot emphasize that enough. So ideally, make sure that you are getting some sort of workout planned and then executed both of those days in a perfect world. But at a minimum, whichever day is going to have the heaviest meal, make sure you've got that going on. Second thing, this is something I think that's going to be absolutely paramount. Again, similar theme to Thanksgiving, but make sure that you are on time with your meds. Also make sure that you are actually portion controlling and carb counting everything. And ideally protein and fat counting too. Because as we talked about for Thanksgiving, the protein and fat will come back hours later. I do not care. If you're like, oh, I'm totally fine. It's very rare where protein and fat do not come back hours later. An example of where it did not come back for me personally, and I'm someone that's like pretty on top of this, right? An example of when it did not come back for me was, it was already over a year ago, but we had gone on a trip. We did a 7-mile hike with a ton of elevation gain. I think we went 150 flights of stairs equivalent of elevation gain. And on top of that, we also had trained before. And I had this wild dinner. There wasn't noodles of fat, but there was a good amount of fat, a ton of protein, and nothing came back later on because we had been so active that our bodies were super depleted. That's the kind of activity level that you would need for the fat and protein to not come back. So unless you live near a mountain range and you love being outside, in that case, maybe a separate situation. But if not, 3 hours after the meal, 4 hours after the meal, you're going to have to pay attention to what your blood sugar is doing because that fat and that protein can and will come back and bite you in the butt. But that goes concurrent to medication timing being on point. So you're not spiking and then staying high. The very least, stay in range. And if it's going to start creeping up, at least you were in range the rest of the time and you're starting out in a better spot. I'd rather you go from 100 to 190 than go from, 230 to 320, right? That's a massive difference. But concurrent to that, again, portion control is going to be a major deal. And I'm not saying don't indulge and don't have fun, right? It's a once a year holiday. Have fun. Be smart, though, at the same time. There's a way to have fun and be smart and keep your numbers happy. And I would almost be inclined to say, like, during times you might be saying, hey, I'm going to this person's house. I don't exactly know what's in it. When you are forced to pay a little bit of extra attention versus going through the motions like you're eating something at home that you normally make, I would argue that blood sugars have the potential to be better. So for example, like when we traveled not too long ago, we got this massive barbecue meal and it was phenomenal. I'm talking like, brisket and turkey and pulled pork and mac and cheese and all that. I would argue my blood sugars were actually better than some of the times when I eat at home because I had to be dialed in. I had to pay attention. I had to say, hey, how much is this? How much do I need to dose? So my blood sugar did not go crazy high. And my number in that situation, my graph was phenomenal. And I'm grateful for that. I'm absolutely grateful for that. But at the same time, I would argue that was a situation that could have gone off the rails, but it didn't because I had to pay extra attention to it. So something else to think about here. So medication timing on point, fat and protein as well, going to come back and bite you in the butt. The workout is going to have to happen. The other caveat here, and again, you might have a lot of family gatherings. You might also just be, hey, it's, you and maybe you've got kids and they're open up presents under the tree at 7 a.m. If you can try to sleep good those couple days or even the day after, like the 26th, do your best to catch up on a little bit of sleep. Because I feel like with diabetes, we're all chronically in sleep debt. It would be really great if you're able to catch up a little bit and say, hey, I slept in for an extra hour or a couple hours. If it's possible, I think your body would thank you. I think it would be amazing if you're able to do that. I also think concurrent to this, there is a chance, there's not a guarantee, but there is a chance that you may have some vacation around that time, right? It might be Christmas Eve. It might be just Christmas Day and the 26th because it's a Thursday, Friday. So you've got a long weekend going on. Try to do something to just relax. And I jokingly would say treat yourself, but the reality is do something for you. Carve out a little bit of time. It's been, like I said, it's been a tough year for a lot of people. It's been a lot of stress, a lot of craziness going on. Take a little time to just decompress, be one with yourself, be one with your fam, enjoy yourself. Do something intentional that you know makes you happy, that makes you present, that you're in the moment, you're absorbed completely, you're putting the screens away, there's no phone. And again, I say all this and you're thinking, well, duh, Ben, obviously. But at the same time, how often in practice are you doing that? How often in practice are you saying, oh, I'm actually chilling versus, oh, well, I'm just relaxing. Well, let me pull my phone out. Let me go watch some football. Let me go do, there's a lot of things going on. And again, rightfully so, we're in a very distracted society, but at the same time, there is a universe where you can do, hey, I'm going to chill for a little bit. Even if it's a few hours of concerted time, that time where you are present and nothing else matters. Of course, every now and then peeping your blood sugar, that makes a world of a difference. And I think that's something that you should really try to lean into. I know Thanksgiving, it's a little bit different. You still have the whole rest of the holiday season coming. There's usually massive family gatherings. There's stress associated with those. I think the self-care aspect should be emphasized then as well. But if you didn't take advantage of that window then, this is another great time to do it. Because also keep in mind, it's not like Friday's Black Friday and then there's Cyber Monday and Travel Tuesday and all that. None of that is here. It's just, hey, there's Christmas, then there's that week between, and then there's New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So another, thing to consider there. And the final thing I'll leave you with here, the final thing, and this is something that I would say probably people do, but maybe not, again, with the intentionality that I think it deserves. But I really think it would be important for you, if you have a care team and you're consistently getting blood sugars checked out, amazing. If you're with us, I'm thrilled. If you're not with us and your team is very consistent with you, I'm thrilled for that as well too. But I think you should consider, from a diabetes standpoint, but also just a life standpoint, set aside like an hour and a half, maybe, depends on your situation. Maybe you only have 30 minutes, but set aside a good chunk of time. Maybe, hey, I'm not going to watch the first half of this game, or hey, maybe I'm going to skip the show and watch it later on. Sit down, reflect on the year, reflect on your blood sugars. This might be a preview for next week's too, but reflect on your blood sugars and then reflect on, hey, what do I want to do? Because a lot of people, they'll come up with their new goal, their resolution on January 1st exactly. Why not think about it a little bit earlier? If you're going to set a resolution and you really want to get it done, why not think about it a little bit sooner? Maybe on, the 27th, it's Saturday, I think, and you're just chilling. It's a relaxing day. It might be cold out. You're at home. Spend some time and just reflect. Hey, what went well and what did not go well? What can you do better? But more importantly, when you've done those things, what do you want to achieve? And spend that time and start formulating that idea. You don't have to fully flush it out. Start formulating what that thing is going to be. And then again, you still have another few days to start figuring out how you're going to get there. And again, if it's diabetes related, which there should be something health related, at least in my humble opinion, but if it's diabetes related and you're thinking, hey, I need support to be able to get this to happen from an external source, I need that support. Team and I are here to help, right? We're all dietitians. We all have the beatus. We all have exercise backgrounds. We get it. We understand you personally and professionally. But on the flip side, if it's, hey, it's not health related. Hey, I want to focus on spending more time with the fam. I want to focus on, getting my financial situation in a better place. I want to focus on making sure that I'm eating better food. So A, my blood sugars are happier, but B, I just feel better at a fundamental energetic level. Start thinking about how you're going to implement that and what's going to happen. I think you'll be very happy that you spent those extra few minutes. And I think it's imperative to do it. I'll go into what I do, at the end of the year in the next week's episode. But I want to make sure you are ready for the holiday and the slight aftermath that comes with it. So I hope this was helpful. Make sure that you are having everything ready to go. And for that workout, you may need to plan a little bit in advance. You may need to start thinking today what you're going to do to make sure the holiday goes as well as it can. But with this, I hope you and your fam have an amazing holiday. If you're loving the podcast, it would mean the world to me. if you could drop a 5-star review on Apple, on Spotify, wherever you are listening. And like I said before, if you are serious, you want better blood sugars in 2026, you want to be feeling your best, you want to be able to have the foods you want without stress, you want to be able to travel, you want to be able to do the activities you want to do when you want to do them, and just feel like diabetes is on the back burner. It's there, but it's not a big deal. We are here to help support you. Like I said, we all have the beatus. We all get it. We're all dietitians. We all have exercise backgrounds, and we would love to be a part of your journey. So with that, go to yourdiabetesinsider.com or holler at me on social media at yourdiabetesinsider. Kind of a big deal. Made that tweak. So definitely holler there. Let us know how we can help support you. And with that, I will catch you in the next episode. Happy holidays.
Hope you're ready for the next episode. Hey.